and welcome along to the Turn 1 podcast, episode 11, Germany, with me, John, also known as Tracker57, and joining me, as always, is Will, Lard and Henry. Gentlemen, good evening.
Hello.
Hello.
Evening.
How the devil are you all? You all good?
I'm good. I'm very warm, but I'm good.
You're warm?
Yeah, well, it's a warm day. Summer.
I've got 23.4 degrees recorded in here.
Oh yeah, that's warm. It's not exactly a brisk.
It's not exactly 30. It's not exactly 36, is it?
No, true.
But that's good to hear. Other than warm, everyone's good, yeah?
Yes, thank you.
That's good. Today we'll be talking about the mad, brilliant race of Britain that happened, all the news that happened in between, and then the build-up to the German Grand Prix. What a build-up we've got coming up for part 2 there. But you're here, for anyone who's watching the stream, we broadcast 8 till 10 BST or GMT, whichever time zone we're in at that point, on the Saturdays after qualifying, and we always played the game for the first part of the podcast. So we're going to switch over to the game camera, which is why you'll hear this noise. And that means we're ready to start the game. And whilst we've played the game, we talk about everything that happened in Britain. So, British Grand Prix. Who wants to kick off? Who wants to? Yeah.
Yeah, it was alright.
It was all right. Just got to start modest with Will there. What a race,
It was back-to-back races, been really, really good.
Yeah.
Where's the F1 gone that we've known for the past few weeks?
Something's changed, hasn't it?
Yeah. It's like, maybe it's the Mercs not having the greatest time of it that's caused it.
Who won?
Yes, he did. Hamilton won it.
Who come second?
Yeah,
And Max aren't having a good time?
we could talk about safety cars and pit stops and everything else, and pit strategy in a little bit, because there was a little bit of controversy about that in there, really.
In what sense?
Yeah.
Because on a different day, it would have been it could have gone to Bottas's favour or anybody else's favour. It was just that luck or maybe Hamilton's strategy helped him win the race.
What about the fact that the crew called Hamilton in afterwards to safeguard the tyres because he had plenty of gap, and he never turned up. He never went into the pit lane.
Yeah, he went no. Which,
Yeah, he
at the
did.
end of the day, if he felt his car was alright, then that's his property, really.
Yeah. I think if as a racing driver, if you think the tyres are alright, stay out.
All right.
It's your race,
Yeah.
driver.
And if they fall off the cliff, guess what? You take the brunt of being wrong. In
Yep.
essence.
That's what we really need to see. I think before, was it last year, and the FIA were like, you can't speak to the drivers and stuff. That was too much. But the drivers having their own opinion on their tyre strategy or when to come in for the pits. Anything wrong with that?
It was a bit too far though when the pits were saying, okay, now do this, and now
Yeah.
do this. It was almost like they weren't driving the car; it was them that was driving.
I quite like the balance we've got now, though. It seems, unless there's a serious health or technical issue, like I'm sure we'll come on to Albon later.
Yeah.
You can't really complain. It's like, there's a centre tripping, we're better racing, you need to do this, so, you actually finish the race.
Yeah.
I don't think that's unfair.
Well, no, that's not unfair. I mean, there are limits, to say, to holding their hand while they're driving. It's just if they need advice on what's happening with the car, if the car's going wrong, rather than making it faster, then that's where the line should be.
I messed that up there.
I think you can have a strategy, before you go out in the race, but, if the tyres are good enough, just stay out.
Well, in recent races, the tyres have been more unpredictable, I guess, with what they expected to happen. Like Hamilton's hard tyres lasted in Britain longer than they thought. so much you came out with the fastest lap, but then you've also got, like, I don't know, Vettel's tyres seem to just die quickly, or in general. And then you've got Haas. What a disaster they were.
It was a story of the week. Haas were pretty much the dominant story of the weekend, really, with the stuff going on behind the scenes with their sponsor, all the way through to stuff that's happening with their drivers. I think that's something we can talk about in the second half of the podcast, really, about drivers under threat for 2019. We're already in 2019 for 2020, and which drivers you think will lose their seats at the end of this season.
Well, I suppose Britain's first piece of action was the Haas. Really?
Yeah.
They made a real hass of that one, didn't they?
Hey, come on. Well done, lad.
Well done.
Was it lap 1, corner 3? They just took each other out, and that was that.
Let's think about the pit lane. That's the way it all started going wrong, wasn't it?
It was just two drivers that have had the same mentality as Vettel at Monza last year, when it was, I've got to gung ho and get as high up as good as possible. When they should be thinking long term and thinking, well, do you know what? I'll pull in behind and think about the long term, race, because they needed data because they're running two different setups. And guess what? They got 2 laps worth or whatever, and it hasn't really benefited the team at all, has it?
No, not really.
And it's not what they needed after, like you said, with everything else going on behind the scenes. They didn't need that either, did they?
No, not really. Wait, virtual safety car already.
The virtual safety car is out.
When did you guys qualify?
I qualified 6th.
I qualified 20th. I came off the track at Vettel's favourite corner.
Oh dear.
You got damage on, haven't you?
No.
Oh, it says I've damaged my front wing.
How badly did you enter the car in front?
Not that badly, he says. Other people in the chat will probably change their minds.
I think damage on is a good thing, though.
It's more realistic, I suppose.
Maintain positive delta until the green flags.
I didn't think I'd put it on. Unless it's because we're on an online league, it turns the damage.
Might be.
Oh, change. You're going to have to drive more carefully now, Tracker.
Oh, it's the fact that you've still got ERS's blooming manual instead of auto.
Oh, here we go. He's always whinging, isn't he?
Yeah, well, I'm been used to driving it with auto for the last 2 seasons. So coming into this season, I'm halfway through I feel like the FIA have changed the regulations.
Don't blame the FIA here, do you mean?
Yeah. If you wanted it done your way, you should have set up the league.
Michael Patterson says, Haas had the worst weekend of racing I've ever seen in the time I've watched F1.
Wow.
The Immortal Cloud says, driver's choice. Nothing wrong with Lewis's tyres, and he got the fastest lap on the last lap.
Yeah.
Anything apart from Grosjean's pit lane excursion was particularly interesting in free practice for Brabron. And I think we sort of covered that in the last podcast, but nothing that happened sort of came to light, I guess, from free practice.
I got a drive-through penalty. Ah, you turned on damage.
That's all we're going to hear now.
Yeah,
until the race is
moaning.
finished.
I am moaning about this now.
What we should say is there was a world record done at Silverstone.
Have you got the exact stat for us there?
It was 1.91 seconds
It was.
from Red Bull on Gasly.
Because was it Williams that had been holding that for the past so many races? Kubica, particularly?
I think so. Yeah, I think it was just over 2 seconds. Yeah, they've had some good. They've been, even though their car is shocking, they've had some good pit stops. Williams team.
They're doing what they can, right, which is pit stops. Of course, Leclerc didn't have the grace to pit stops in free practice earlier, which we'll get to. Embarrassing. Yeah.
Go, go, go.
And Gazzy had a good race as well.
Best of the season, wasn't it? Best result.
Okay,
Thor.
Yeah.
clear of the white line on the exit. We'll receive a penalty for dangerous
I'm
driving.
lost to everybody else.
Okay, entry
And he
line
was
3
quicker in
now.
in
DRS
practice
15 and
than Max Verstappen.
You're right there, Tracker.
Yeah, I've had my front wing changed instead of going through the drive-through penalty, which is what I wanted to do. So I'm not happy. Not happy at all. I'm supposed to be relaxing playing F1, not fretting about it.
Michael Patterson said, Sebastian, Captain Crash Vettel, you mean Tracker?
Yeah. For the first time ever,
I
shut up.
suppose we should get on to the first few laps of the British Grand Prix, which were extremely exciting.
Yes, they were.
I mean, what, top 6 cars? Pretty much.
It was very close racing during Britain for quite a while, I think.
It was. It was a really close race.
Yeah, people say the safety car was like ruining the race, but I don't think it did really.
I think it gave us a different kind of race
Hmm.
to what we were maybe expecting. Because it would have been, could Bottas get a big enough lead to do his second stop, or would he come out how close behind Hamilton to challenge for the win? And yet, you know, we got a good race further down the field, maybe.
The mid-pack really was interesting. I mean, Russell was out there fighting even without the safety car, so Williams were benefiting from
Do you know
some
what?
home advantage.
Do you know what? I think congratulations to Williams because they got the highest finish of the season. What was it, P14? They finished this this race.
Yeah, I don't think too many cars went out either. Was it? I know Giovinazzi went out, which caused the safety car, of course. So that was one.
Then you had the Hasses, didn't you?
Yeah, so only 3 places. So they've took what? Vettel was behind both of them. So that's 17, 16, 15th. There must have been somebody else that went out.
Let me have a quick look.
I want to say a Renault.
I think it was Renault.
Was it a Renault?
Right, so you had 3 did not finish this, which was Magnussen, Grosjean, Giovinazzi.
Yeah.
Perez was 17th.
Yeah.
Vettel was 16th, obviously, because he had a 10-second penalty. Kubica was 15th, and Russell was 14th.
It was Perez, wasn't it? Because he had damage with the Renault. There we go. That was why.
Yeah, he went into his old teammate, didn't he?
Hmm.
Yeah, we'll get into people colliding with people very shortly.
Yeah.
That was
Show
a strange
practice.
incident. Yeah. So I think, didn't he lose a brake? Wasn't there a brake issue he reported before and then after? Perez blamed, which obviously you can't really say if he was telling the truth or not, but
Yeah,
that's where his blame went.
not himself when he's driving.
No. I mean, to be fair, Perez, apart from like last year, was it Singapore, where he drove like a bit of an...
Oh, God, yeah.
He's usually pretty fair.
Yeah.
Usually.
Steering wheel issue. Perez said it was a steering wheel issue.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. So, you know, it was a racing incident in the end, wasn't it? Practically. But I think the penalty just dropped on him. Did he get a penalty for that?
Let me find out. I didn't hear anything.
No, I didn't.
Unless they did it
No.
after, unless they did it after the race.
So we'll come on to the other disaster in a bit and why that penalty was what it was. But the first 11 laps, there was 2 or 3 changes for the lead.
Yeah, there was, wasn't there?
Only between Mercedes, to be fair, but that was some close racing.
I think
Yeah.
it was close racing throughout the field, really, wasn't there?
Hmm.
It was a very entertaining race to watch.
I mean, it's kind of showing that if the temperatures are right on the situation, those wings are working to keep the cars together a bit more. It's not damaging the tyres as much as what we wanted.
And to be fair, it's across all cars, not just Mercedes or just, you know, Ferrari.
Yeah.
All the cars were following each other.
Yeah.
I think there's like a bit of time management because I know Lewis, obviously with was it lap 4, he made the attempt on Bottas after the first, and he sort of dropped back a bit to cool off his tyres. But
You did say that, didn't you, after the race, that he attacked and then he backed off just to cool his tyres down.
yeah, but is that following or is that just good race strategy? Meaning saving his tyres for later on in the race.
I think it was a case of he knew he was doing more damage to his tyres, sat there, so sort of backed off, and backed off, and then just settled into what he knew. He knew what he needed to do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. In that respect, I think the tyres this year have been quite good.
Yeah, they have been.
Which is why Ferrari are like, we want them back to the other ones.
Yeah.
Yep.
But you can't go back to, was it 2014 when they were delaminating and blowing up and God knows what? That was just...
No, that's dangerous. That really is. I mean, especially when we had Silverstone that year. How many in the race? 4?
Yeah,
I mean, it wasn't even that many laps in, was it, for some of them? They just went.
They did just explode, didn't they? It was down mainly hangar, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. It's, it's not good.
No. I think the tyres are fine at the minute. I know that the 2021's rules say that they're not going to be as degrading as they are now. But I've got no problems with this year's tyres, really. Ferrari have.
Well, it was more Red Bull, wasn't it? But they've now got to the bottom of their issues with their recent upgrades.
Yeah.
They can actually get the tyre in the window now.
So it depends what sort of racing you want to see. You want more degrading tyres, you'll get 2 or 3 pit stop races. If you want racing full out engines, a bit of time management, but mainly pushing to the end, and one don't degrade.
Yeah.
Choose F1 to be. You can't have it both ways.
Very true.
No, exactly. They probably do the tyres to whatever they're told to do, and then people whinge about it.
I think what Pirelli sort of need to do is so the teams can choose tyres close to the race. Again, today it was like 9 weeks ago they had to choose tyres for this.
But the thing is, though, they have to choose the tyres because it takes that long to manufacture even.
Yeah.
So
you don't know how hot it's going to be, do you? It's one of them.
Yeah, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah, Pirelli really are like the stewards in a no-win scenario, really, aren't they?
Yeah.
But I think it is affecting the racing because you're having really hot races and everybody's brought super hot, the fast tyres, which aren't lasting.
But doesn't that make the racing more interesting? We can see what the strategy is.
Well, it can do, but it depends if you want entertainment throughout the whole race weekend because people aren't going to use them in practice because they need to save them for the race. Was it Mercedes? I think that was in Britain and today. They only had 1 or 2 sets of medium tyres.
Yeah.
So then one set's got to be used in Q2 if that's the strategy they're going for. And they've got one other set which they can either do a long run on Friday or Thursday. Friday, sorry, and or use it in the race as a brand new tyre. What do you do? Yes, it's interesting because you don't know how the tyre will perform in the race, but you might get a better race if everybody knows what it's going to react like.
Yeah.
It's a fine balance. I think tyres need looking at just as much as aero, to be fair.
I'd love it if the tyres just held so they can go full out all the time without them worrying about them going, but you have to mandatorily make at least one pit.
Yeah, without fuel before Todd comes in with that one.
So, what's going on in the chat, Henry?
I don't know because my phone's just reconnecting.
Technical difficulties there.
If anybody said anything, I'm sorry. There we go. Apart from to Michael Patterson, I'm not sorry to you because you turned disappointed. More on the Perez thing, he was said again because it's steering wheel thing. It sent his brake bias towards the front, as Will did say. So, But there is no, there's nothing about a penalty.
I don't think it was penalty worthy, to be fair. He ruined his own race and
No.
ended last. Worth penalty points and license because it wasn't dangerous, I guess.
Like, you know, if they can show that he's got an issue with the steering or whatever, then that's fine, isn't it? So,
Mm.
and he had the issue before he got to the just as the safety car could come out, or just before the safety car. So it wasn't like it was just over 2 laps. It was obviously a
Yeah.
sustained thing.
Because wasn't it on the restart the incident happened? Or, you know,
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the Haas boys, shall we? We haven't talked that lap 1 incident. This was a race that they needed. This was supposed to be what they, you know, you said it yourself last time around. They were doing split strategy. The Australia versus the Spain.
That's correct. Yes.
And this race was this race that they went to was a no-brainer. They had to use it pretty much as practice to find out which one was working best, and they blew it.
They did.
Why they just didn't give each other room? I mean, what is it with those two? I mean, I've now got Netflix, which is brilliant, and I've watched the F1 Drive to Survive series, and these two have been colliding with each other more times than any other teammates, more times than Perez and Ocon.
Yeah, one of them needs to be leaving Formula One, and I have a feeling I know who it's going to be going.
it's got to be Grosjean, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking.
K-Mag has been putting in great qualifying performances. Yes, he's been a bit, should we call it bitchy, to the engine when it's not been going his way. But I mean, rightly so. They've got a Ferrari engine, and they're dead last. That's not his fault.
I've lost it.
In that built float.
Yeah, he's not losing 4 seconds a lap because of his driving ability, because he's pulled P5 on Saturday. So it's got to be that car.
The car reminds me of the 2014 Mercedes, where it was always quick over 1 lap because it could turn the tyres on the right way, but in the race it was using the tyres the wrong way and it would just go back down the grid.
Mm. I don't know, but I think Grosjean's got to go, in my opinion. He's incident prone.
Yep.
He's not very good for, well, what do you want to call it? Promotion for the team.
Yeah.
Interviews he gives aren't great, and generally, he usually causes a lot of incidents. But he's the perfect sort of driver that could go and do the FIA job, looking at incidents. You know? Because he's been in a current car, he's been in enough incidents himself. That's the sort of drivers you've got to look at for that role.
I say get rid of both of them.
Ooh.
If you're going to get rid of one, get rid of the other one. Why don't I just start fresh? Because the team at the minute is just like, there's no morale in the team. They just all seem to be like, I don't know. It's a strange atmosphere at Haas at the minute.
Well, yeah, the outside influences and stuff isn't helping you though, is it?
No.
Oh dear.
What's wrong, Tracker? What are you doing?
I'm off the track.
You spend more time off the track than on the track.
And you were catching me there for a second.
I was, and then I made a cock up, and it just went wrong.
Tracker, ignore what Michael Patterson's saying in the chat, please.
I can't see the chat. I'm looking at my screen. Duh.
Great, that's great news.
Ignore what Michael Patterson's is saying in the chat. I'm looking at a bloody screen with an F1 car, mate.
He supports everyone on the podcast, barring me. That's what he said.
That's good. Thank you, Michael Patterson.
That is a bannable offence, Michael Patterson, right there.
Doubt it.
I've said it. Look.
Like I said last one, you ban him, I ban you. But I need you for the chat, so I can't really ban him. That don't work, does it?
I'm actually useful for something. I'm useful for something then.
You are, yeah, just about.
Here's the thing, though. If they got rid of Grosjean and Magnussen, who do they get in?
Ocon.
I don't think Ocon will go there. I don't,
Ocon's been talked about, yeah.
I don't think Mercedes A would let him go there, and I don't think Ferrari. Well, I mean, Ferrari don't have a say because they're not a B team, but would the Haas really want to have Mercedes driving in there? Surely they can just go out and get somebody else.
Well, who have they got?
Who?
Who have Ferrari got as a backup then?
Kvyat.
Yeah.
Do you want to put him in that car?
So that's the thing. You say about you can't have. Oh God, I'm being blue flagged, aren't I? You're coming up behind me, aren't you?
Oh God.
No.
I've been blue flagged.
Creating some breathing space between you and the car behind by a
Where are you?
per lap.
Turn 3, turn 2.
Yeah, it's me.
Oh jeez, Louise.
Tracker,
Anyway,
I'm
15.
I'm the Williams of this group here.
Tracker, I've got one thing to say to you.
I
Will
know Will
is
is faster
faster
than
than you.
me. Yeah, I know. At least I didn't forget the clutch. You know.
Hey.
Well, starting
A
it.
terrible setup. I'm kind of just.
I mean, I know that me and you spoke about this yesterday, didn't we, Tracker? We spoke a little bit about this.
We did, yeah.
And you did throw some names out there. You threw
You remember?
Pascal Verline. You threw his name out there.
Yeah, I did.
Blue flag, blue
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, he's moved from the Mercedes driving program to the Ferrari one, has he not?
No, he's in
Overtake.
FIE now. He's in the E series now, isn't
Formula E
Uh,
series.
he? He left the Mercedes because he thought he was going to get the Toro Rosso seat.
I still think he's in the Ferrari driver program, though.
Let's have a look.
I believe.
See, I think I think that'd be a good shout, wouldn't it?
Yes, he is. He's development driver for Ferrari.
So they can't really get rid of him because they've only just got rid of Kvyat for that seat himself because he was the test driver.
Did they not get Hartley to replace him?
Hartley was there as well, yeah, but I think they have two test drivers.
Right.
Style of like Leclerc and Vettel,
2 seconds.
because that was the reason they said qualifying and setups were not so good because they'd lost Kvyat, who drives similar to Vettel, which made me laugh. But
Torpedo 1 to Torpedo 2.
Torpedo gets his man.
Michael Patterson makes a good point, actually. He said it's ironic that with all the incidents regarding other drivers, I've completely overlooked Kvyat. I've not noticed him doing much wrong.
No,
He's a changed man. He's a changed man.
I
Just a
had this.
McLaren incident, I think.
I had this conversation with you yesterday. I when we get to talk about Gasly about possible replacements.
Yeah.
I don't know, though.
Let's talk about the other incident in the race. Yeah. So we talked about the ongoing because leaving Ocon, Grosjean and that behind because we're going to talk about that part 2 about drivers at risk. Vettel torpedo away.
Oh no, we got Grosjean, Giovinazzi first. That was a brake failure on the rear.
Which caused a safety
Thank you,
car.
Carl.
Yeah.
Come on, Tracker, get it in the right order.
Oh,
God,
God's sake, Tracker, come on!
can't skip to the juicy bit. We won't stick around then. God.
They're telling me how to do my job. Okay. It's
I'll
turned
I'll
into
keep-
that kind of day, is it? They're telling me how to do my job.
If I'm not needed anymore, I'm just going to go. Is that all right? I'll go. It's okay. It's okay.
You've got my support, Ted.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's nice to know.
All right then, fill us in. Grosjean, Giovinazzi.
I will not
Not Grosjean.
You said Grosjean, Giovinazzi. Did they say in the chat?
I said moving on from Grosjean to Giovinazzi.
Yes, he did say that. He did say that.
I see. The thing is though, the mic never picked up the moving on from. You said Grosjean to Giovinazzi, so that's what I picked up.
I
Trying
heard.
to cover his tracks now. Dear me.
I heard
Look,
him
I cover
perfectly
my
well.
tracks with gravel with the amount of times I've been off on this one. Like now.
So,
Giovinazzi, brake
Giovinazzi.
failure. That was a weird one, wasn't it? It just
Yeah.
came out of nowhere. What was it? He came out of not Copsey, Stowe, wasn't it? It was going towards Stowe, and the brakes
that
just
20
gave up.
penultimate corner.
Yeah, Stowe into club. Yeah.
I think, who was it? Magnussen had a similar issue today, apparently, because there's a bump on the way to that corner.
Right.
Giovinazzi braked, it sort of locked up, and then the rear braking thing had an issue, which they've not disclosed,
Yeah.
or had last time I looked. which caused him to sort of spin. Not driver error, which is that's pretty much been confirmed. It was a technical issue.
It was tech.
Yeah, because I thought he was having a good race up to that point.
He was.
You know, nothing special, but nothing terrible. And of course,
He's been dominated by Kimi, but you know, for Alpha Sid did say, didn't they, in Baku, they've let him down up to that point.
but Giovinazzi's in that seat to learn off Kimi rather than
Yeah.
make
exactly.
a driver.
Exactly.
He's going to be
So-
a Ferrari in the future, isn't he, really? Let's face it.
Well, even if he
I think
doesn't,
so.
I'm sure he can go. I'm sure even if he, you know, if they don't want him, I'm sure he'll end up somewhere in the midfield. He's a good enough. He could be a good enough midfield driver.
Haas, possibly.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Ferrari engine, Ferrari sort of driver program. But yeah, that incident was strange, not his fault, but of course caused the safety car, which, well,
Moved up to
made the race more interesting or less interesting, depending which side of the fence you're on.
We got. I think we got a good race. We would have got a good race without the safety car. And we got a good race with the safety car.
Yeah.
4.7 seconds.
Well, yeah, because the safety car came in and just like gave us a cooling off point for a few minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But everybody reset as well, didn't they? It was new tyres or getting into a working window they could do or what.
Yeah.
And then we had the Charles Leclerc and the Verstappen pit lane race.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was good.
That was good. So, like I said, it was a good race.
Yeah.
It's, you know, from the dullness of France to Austria and Britain back to back. We had a couple of classic races here, haven't we?
There's going to be tracks where it's a bit dull, and there's going to be tracks where it's just going to be action, action.
Oh, come on. France was a snooze fest.
Oh yeah. I'm not going to just. That's what I said. There's going to be tracks where it's going to be a snooze fest. Monaco,
Yeah.
France. But France-
China.
Approaching the pit window.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We've
but
had 10
not-
races.
Brilliant.
Yeah, we've had 10 races so far. Out of all of them, we've had 3 which were classics.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2 which were like semi-decent to, you know, not completely boring, and 5. Oh, God.
Yeah, 5 could absolutely come up to flowers back.
Well, even those races weren't like, you know, the worst we've ever seen in F1. It's just the fact we've been treated to such good racing like last year, and in the races that have been good, they seem bad, I guess. Like France was Mercedes' dominance, but you've got to admire the precision, the strategy, the speed. Yes, there was no overtaking, but the performance, brilliant race.
And the midfield. Oh, sorry, lad. I was just going to say the midfield was quite close again.
Yeah, okay, there wasn't so many overtakes, but you'd still got like the Norris incident, which happened in France, which was interesting. Ricardo, interestingly, choosing a different track which nobody else was driving on.
Yep.
Sounds
But
like
I'm not
Verstappen
saying-
and Norris last week on the Spa 24-hour virtual race.
Yeah, but like I say, France was boring, but it wasn't boring, you know?
Yeah.
Sort of like that range. Nothing happened at the front, nothing happened at the end, but something sort of happened. Does that make good racing? I don't know. I think it was Will Axton in the F1 thing for YouTube said, you know, you're not going to get amazing races in every, well, you know, amazing races every week. We've set our expectations too high for some places, you know?
No, but
Yeah.
you would expect them to be more than half of good races. Rather than, 70% of them were, for want of a better word, compared to the other 3, crap.
I suppose it depends why they were boring. Like, Ferrari dropped the ball in Bahrain with the issues and made it a boring race because Mercedes just dominated.
I think Bahrain was one of the better races of the year.
Yeah, but
Because
still,
Australia was awful.
it could have been
Barcelona
more
was
interesting
awful.
if Charles Leclerc had actually, finished.
Yeah, this is true.
It's not Mercedes' dominance that's the issue, it's the other teams just being crap.
We're having technical issues.
Yeah, you don't tell Usain Bolt to slow down so all the other 100-metre races seem more interesting.
No.
No.
Get
no.
quicker.
Box. We're coming in this lap.
You know, F1's in that weird place at the minute.
So let's talk about the other crash, Vettel Verstappen.
Which is a bit of a weird crash as well, to be honest.
Yeah, Vettel. Well, let's face it. It all started up back on Hangar Straight, didn't it? When Verstappen got DRS to go past Vettel, took it really good through Stowe, and then Vettel just couldn't get it right and went straight into the back.
I think Vettel admitted it was his mistake, didn't he? It was his fault. And I think he also said he was expecting Verstappen to go towards the right where the racing line is. So
Yeah.
I think that if Vettel had gone right, would Verstappen have gone right and cut him off that way? I don't know.
Pit in this lap.
I think this is very similar to Bahrain. The Ferrari just can't follow a car which is changing a position. The aero on it's so fragile, it causes it to spin out or have an accident. It's the drivability of that Ferrari that's suffering in traffic, not its speed.
And it's race pace as well. It's race pace. Hasn't got good race pace.
No, that's a mixture of top tyres and all sorts, isn't it?
Yeah, that was evident in Silverstone.
Yeah. Which, you know, looking at tomorrow's race could be an issue.
Yeah, it could be a big issue.
Well, if it's cooler than what it was today, it may help him. I don't know. It might be a hindrance, but
Go now.
it's
That's the thing, isn't it? They don't know what's wrong with it. They need to do a Haas and sort of go, well, last year's car was better in traffic. Let's put last year's spec on. But obviously, but you know what I mean. So they don't know what to do with that Ferrari.
No, I still think that from the tone of everything, I think Vettel's on his way out. I seriously do.
Well, today's interview was terrible. He gave all the charisma he got gone.
I just think he's just in a dark. I was going to say dark place, but that's not technically right. The car doesn't suit how he likes to drive. 'Cause he's got no confidence in it. But like you say, he's just so damn beat at the minute. It's as if he's
Is it the same Vettel from Red Bull 2014?
No.
no.
No. Do we think this is like Vettel going, I've had enough?
Possibly.
Turn up the
Or he's had enough of Ferrari.
some of this energy.
Well, he knows the challenge. He knows that they can potentially challenge if they get it right. It's just, does he want? It's the way the Ferrari probably work, and how he operates don't mix together.
I can see him going back to Red Bull. Now the Honda engine's proving to be, you know, good.
Yeah, it's not the
Something like
best.
that.
It's not the best. I think it's still the worst on the grid, but yeah, it's decent this year, isn't it?
Well, we'll talk about Max Verstappen's qualifying later, but it's reasonably reliable, it's quick, and it's challenging Mercedes in what you can consider a less advanced car. Aerospace? I don't know.
I don't know. I think Adrian Newey's finally got his magic working on that car to get the tyre temperatures working to get it within the range, and now they're finally challenging. So at the
It's
minute,
just-
they're car number 2, aren't they? Really, with all of
Yeah.
Ferrari's reliability issues and everything, they are the second best car on the grid.
Yeah,
So-
they are.
It's just missing something, isn't it, to bring it to Mercedes? It's tenth today.
It's just the engine.
You reckon?
That's all it's missing. It's just the Honda engine's not. It's the worst on the grid, but it's not that far behind, say, Renault, and they're not really far behind Mercedes. But I think if they just got the engine, maybe a bit more power, a bit more responsive, because he's now with the upgrades, he's got so much confidence in the corners. He's putting his foot down, and it takes the engine quite a while to respond. So if they could get that engine sorted out.
Yeah, he keeps complaining about lag. So that could be it. That could be what. You know,
Well, the
lag in turbo.
the turbo lag, I'm doing inverted commas here, was caused by him putting his foot down too quickly in the car, because he's got so much confidence now in the car. The ECU couldn't cope with it. And it just sort of created a lag or whatever before it picked up what he wanted to do.
So again, that's more of a change. The can make to help the driver, but that means making the car around Max Verstappen for next year rather than a team.
Yeah.
Well, he is their number one driver.
Hmm.
He is the leader of the Red Bull team.
Yeah, he is.
It's an interesting way of looking at it, though. Do you prefer one driver for a Drivers' Championship or both drivers for a Constructors' Championship?
Well, they've done this before, haven't they? Vettel and
Vettel and
Webber.
Webber.
They picked Vettel over. They always,
The famous
they
Malta
always do this?
21, wasn't it?
you know, Webber had been there years, and they brought this young guy Vettel in, and then they backed Vettel because he was a younger driver, and they could get their money. I suppose to get their money back. Do you know what I mean? But they could, the amount of money they spent on him getting him into F1, they knew if he would have, you know, if he was to win races and then win the championship, they would get a lot of money from that and probably make back what they've and more than what they've spent on him.
I think the status quo this year, though, if it continues like it is, Red Bull could come out second constructor, which is worth a lot of money. If they consolidate that for next year as well and go, you know, both drivers need to have a good car, so we get second again, and then put all the money we've earned into 2021, you know?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Red Bull's got endless pockets, but you don't want to come out every weekend with a lot, do you?
The Red Bull are in a good space because they only spend 300 million a year compared to the other two, and obviously they've only got to cut their budget in half in 2021 if they, about half if they stick with the budget cap.
Yeah.
But I think at the minute they're the second team at the minute, aren't they?
They are. I think with everything going on with Ferrari, the fact that, let's face it, this was supposed to be Ferrari's big year this year, wasn't it? The year that they were going to challenge Mercedes. True, they've had some bad luck with things like Bahrain and that, but it's their own fault. It's their own downfall. They can't blame any engine manufacturers because they are the engine manufacturers. They can't blame can't blame any other team really. If they try blaming the FIA, they're not going to win a battle there, are they?
I think it's last year was also their year, and they had more of a good year until this race last year, and then it just died.
Yep, it just fell apart for them.
After the summer break, Mercedes just outdeveloped them, didn't they? It was just like they knew what they were doing, and everything they brought to the car just worked. Whereas
Hamilton just found that other gear again, and just went away he went. There was
Whereas-
no problem in last year.
Whereas Ferrari brought all these upgrades, and you didn't know if they were going to work.
Exactly. They
And
were
if-
just bolting
and
on
it-
anything.
And if it did work, it wasn't working as much as they thought it'd work in the wind tunnel.
It's like they bought plywood sometimes to their blooming races to see if that had more error than what the actual Ferrari team had actually developed. And sometimes it was better.
I think Ferrari are just missing a couple of key appointments to sort of get them back up there. You know, we know their engine's the best. It's just now getting the aero and a few other bits, and they'll be up there.
They really are
Haven't they-
missing James
their
Allison,
engines-
aren't they?
Haven't they stolen Alfa Romeo's aero department?
Wow, he was only on loan, wasn't
Designer.
he? He was only on
Yeah.
loan, wasn't he?
But they've requested him back a little earlier than the loan was supposed to be for.
But they've done it the right way because they've said that he's going to go on garden leave before he goes back there.
Yeah.
So he's going to have to take garden leave for 3 months. He's going to get paid to stay at home, and then he's going to go back.
I'm not complaining, I'm just saying that's an appointment
no.
which they've made, you know.
Normally, when you're making when they sign somebody from another team, it's they want him straight away. But it's always garden leave for say 3 to 6 months before they then take up their new job.
Like I say, I think Ferrari are missing James Allison. I think he was such a big figure of the team for aero. He's with Mercedes now, isn't he? And that car's
Well, look at it. If you look at this year's car, this has probably got his blueprint all over it. Really.
I think it was Autosport that said something interesting though. Whenever there's been a massive rule change, it's always Mercedes or Brawn, as it was, that comes out on top. 2008 was a massive one, and like Button and McLaren and came to the front. And then in 2012, the next massive one, it was Mercedes again, wasn't it? That come. There's something about Brackley and what they set up for next when there's a rule change that seems to work for them.
That's where Williams are going wrong. They're not in Brackley. Yeah, that's it.
Well, Williams used to work a lot closer to Mercedes as well, and they've stopped, so that could be a factor.
I think there was a stat, wasn't there, today that said that before qualifying, Williams' fastest lap was 4% slower than the fastest lap generally.
Ooh, something like that. Weren't they like 112 or something last year, and now they're 115s or something?
113.7 last year, I think, in Q1, and they did 115s this year.
It's nuts.
That's
isn't it?
awful.
That's terrible. That.
And that's with their new upgrade package.
Which is really weird because they gave it to Kubica first, and he was 6/10 faster, wasn't he, than Russell?
Yeah,
And then
FP1.
then they gave it to Russell for FP3, and he never went out.
But then Russell absolutely blitzed Kubica in FP2, FP3, and
Qualifying, isn't he?
yeah,
I thought it was only about a tenth off.
Seconds is the gap between you and the next car.
yeah,
3 seconds.
apparently or something.
Yeah, it wasn't that much of a difference.
Russell said it was worth another like 3/10, I think. So you know, I
It's a
guess
small gain that hopefully gets them in the right direction.
Yeah.
the problem with Williams is there's no temptation for anybody to go there. Designers, drivers.
They don't want to do it now, do they? They want to do it from within.
Yeah,
Because
got
they've
no
probably got no choice
people.
but to do it within, though, haven't they?
Yeah, you're not going to attract anybody on their budget. Or
Battery charge is high. Let's increase ERS deployment to
Well, they got Paddy Lowe in, didn't they? They attracted Paddy Lowe.
Yeah, but then he ended up on gardening leave and he's left.
Yeah, because I think with Paddy Lowe, he's been at a team where it was everybody sort of worked together. That if they were behind, they've got the resources and the money to spend, and he's gone to Williams, and they don't have the money or the resources, you know.
Williams need another driver. Williams' future depends on what happens to Kubica. If they get somebody in with funding this season, they can make some steps. As it stands, I don't see it. Which is upsetting.
Yeah.
So we could lose them.
You think Williams could disappear from the grid?
Very possible.
If they don't get points this year or next year, why bother?
True.
It's not much to ask, is it 1 point in 2 seasons?
You should be okay to continue. It'll
Because
cost us
wasn't the point last year or whatever once they got basically luck? Because everybody dropped out of the race? It's not good. They're really not in a good place.
No.
engine modes are available.
I'll tell you something though, getting back onto subject.
Go on.
How did Vettel and Max continue in that race after that
I
incident?
know.
There's 5 laps
I was
remaining.
Well,
Max, that curb.
There was so much. I thought it'd be a lot more damage. I thought both cars would be out. That was it.
And of course, Seb got a 10-second penalty for that,
Yeah.
which a lot of people said that's not enough.
2 points on his license as well.
Whoa. Okay.
Is that
Right,
enough?
That's my race done.
Oh. Why? What's happened?
I got a 5-second time penalty, but I caused a collision at the hairpin. I'm not
Oh,
liking
dear.
this today. I am not liking this. I'm going to just complain to the
For you
FIA.
next time. Yeah.
I prefer having, no offence, I prefer having the chat, you know, rather than concentrating on where my front wing's going to go and how many times I've got to go through the pit lane. Every time I've stopped, I've had to change for a pit lane. I had to change in the pit lane. I haven't practiced F1 2019. I haven't had the time, if I'm honest.
He sounds like a proper F1 driver, doesn't he?
Yeah, just getting out
Yeah, it does.
the book of driver excuses. I've not had any practice.
This is not my day.
Yeah, there's a misfire. The pedal
Oh,
come off.
You know, I thank you for doing that, though, Tracker, because that took me into second.
That's quite all right. On P12, probably P13 if there's a car behind. Oh yes, there is a car behind me, so I'll finish P13 today. Not exactly where I wanted to be. What percentage is this set at? The AI?
55.
Wow.
That's before you complain to me.
Yeah, we agreed on 55. That's fine. Yeah, I know, because we said that 45 was far too easy.
Immortal Cloud said, if you were new to racing this year, you wouldn't think Vettel was a top driver.
Very true.
Yeah. Immortal Cloud said that Hartley's had a lot of bad luck.
I just got taken out!
Oh, God. Hopefully it was a nice date. I'm sorry.
Was it to the zoo?
Was it to a restaurant for a nice meal?
Come on, that was not fair.
Karloff said Monaco isn't as good as it used to be. Karloff also said 115.54 as of free practice 3 for Williams today. Michael Patterson said those Williams figures are bad. I feel they've only been allowed to participate this season with pace. So bad because of their championship winning heritage.
You got to. If there were a new team coming in, would you take them?
And here's the thing: Michael Patterson goes on to say, Williams would have been better keeping Stroll on in place of Kubica.
There's other reasons about that, though, isn't there?
Exit now.
Daddy's team, rather than best driver.
I would like to say that he's got a driving coach now, hasn't he?
Hey, you can raise him money for breast cancer. He carries on qualifying last.
He always used to qualify bad and have a good race, doesn't he, Stroll?
He's had really good starts as well when he was at Williams.
Except now when he's at Force India.
Racing Point.
I'm surprised. I set you guys up there so that to come back with.
We're professional on this podcast, Lard. If nothing else, we get things right.
Yes.
Sports players are rated in points. There you go.
Oh, the Immortal Cow says poor John with a crying face.
That's me out of the race.
Big one. Confirm you're okay, please.
Jeez Louise. Because you wouldn't move out the way. That time round. I'm out. I'm annoyed. I'm out.
That's why you left your helmet on.
I am absolutely fuming. I'm out.
Someone is so annoyed they left the chat.
Hey, I'm here.
But who
Henry's
knows?
gone.
Ted's
Henry's
gone.
gone, isn't he?
Oh, no.
Ted's gone.
The glue to the podcast is gone.
Oh, dear.
Part 2 is going to be shambles now.
Oh, dear.
We have to get into contract negotiations to get him back.
Yeah, I don't know what's happened to him. He has just dropped out, hasn't he?
And now he's back.
He's back,
Oh,
is
thank
he?
God for that.
That's all
It
right.
was the talk of the money.
Yeah, we're not Sky Sports. We're not going to sack him off, you know.
Sack who off?
Oh, damn, he's back for negotiations.
Fucks. That's it now.
dear.
I did say, I was saying, should we give the drivers, should we give the British Grand Prix a score out of 10? And nobody could hear me. I was going, hello? We were just Discord having a funny 5 minutes.
Let's give it a out of 10. I'm going to go with, I think I said 9.5, so I'm staying with a 9.5.
Thinking 9.5 is it's a very, very fair number for us, so I agree. 9.5.
Nice. Will?
Yeah, 9.5.
Henry? He is still there, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's just playing. Henry thinks 6. 9.5 out of 10 for Michael Patterson. 10 for the Immortal McLeod.
He's gone again.
He has
His
gone again.
technical problems.
He has
Yeah.
got technical problems. Well, let's take a break, shall we? Race is done. We're going to take a break. And we'll be back in 5 minutes, hopefully with Henry back. Oh, it says 9 for
Hello.
me and 8 for Austria. We've done
Yeah,
Austria,
there you go.
Henry.
No, but I said 7.5 in Austria, so I've just changed my mind. I've
You
changed it.
can't
Not
change your mind after.
I think I can.
I think
with
you
my,
can't.
With my surname, I think. Do you know what I mean? I can go places.
I'm going to say with the chief
Not
editor.
far.
I'm going to say chief editor. It stays at the old rate, 7.5. And on that note, we're going to go for a 5-minute break. We'll see you on the other side. Take care. Bye bye. And we're back. Welcome back to part 2 of the Terminal Podcast, episode 11. And you are joining me, Will, Lard and Henry for part 2, where we talk mainly about everything else that's happened other than Britain. So let's start with our normal segment, which is the news. And it's over to Henry Gravitz. Henry.
Good evening, everyone. So after Silverstone, there was a Pirelli test on the Tuesday and Wednesday, and Bahrain had a crash on Wednesday. They don't know what caused it. I'm not saying it was driver error. I'm not saying it's the tyres. But Pirelli is still investigating that crash. Exactly. So also, yeah, bizarre. Ricardo, well, Michael Patterson, I know he's in the chat, brought this up. Ricardo's been taken to court by a former manager for loss of earnings or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was the other way around. I thought Ricardo had taken.
No, it's the manager taking him to court.
Ah,
This one.
It's about 10 million.
Yeah, because what the manager or former manager is saying that Ricardo said to him, "Stay on and help me negotiate the deal with Renault." Ricardo hasn't said anything. In the court case itself, it does disclose how much Ricardo is on at Renault.
Right.
Unfortunately, they haven't disclosed it to the public.
What?
In the court papers, it hasn't been disclosed how much he's on at Renault. I would say, including bonuses, it's going to be 15 plus million a year. He's got to be on a basic salary of 8 to 9 million, hasn't he? Surely. You would think, surely.
You'd think so, wouldn't you?
So you'd say he's on 9 million a year plus bonuses. I don't know what bonuses they're going to give him.
there's not really much they can, like a podium, but I don't think Renault's really fighting for it.
Not in a minute, no.
No, they're not at that stage for podium fighting yet, are they?
I think they're basing their hopes on 2021, aren't they?
Yeah, that's what Ricardo was saying in interviews at the start of the year.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
Is there
yeah.
a date for that court case or anything we're looking out for?
I don't know. It's sort of just it sort of came out before at the start of the week, so it's sort of hot off the press.
From what I heard, it was 2020 they were looking at the potential court case going to it, so it's going next year.
There you go.
That's a long way to drag it out, though, isn't it? Really?
It is, yeah.
But it'd be hard for him to go to court if he's like meant to be racing in Russia or something. I think that's what they're trying to take into account. So it's strange because I don't think we've ever seen a manager take a driver to court or whatever else. It's a bit strange.
It might not be. It might be strange, but it's probably not unheard of. It might have happened in different sports. It might not just. This might be the first time it's happened in Formula One, or it's been made public.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see. What's it say here? The Australian made the switch from Red Bull to Renault ahead of the 2019 season, but now his former manager, Glenn Beavis, has filed a lawsuit in a high court in London, claiming that he hasn't received his commissions owed on the Renault contract. BBC Sport reported that Ricardo's lawyer, Jeremy Courtney Stamp of Ebury Partnership said there was no merit in the claim and added, "We are going to defend it fully," while legal documents seen the company reportedly make a claim in excess of £10 million for various sums due in accordance with the commission. With the commission agreed between the parties. So that's what we've got on there. Beavis is owed 20% commission to the value of all his new deals, so he's on 50 million.
But is that not including sponsorship deals?
Well, to the value of all deals he introduced and where it was subsequently concluded. Ricciardo's 2-year contract with Renault, which was agreed on the 2nd of August 2018, is believed to be worth around 26 million per season. There we go.
So what, about 12? Yeah, but how much? Yeah, 12, 30 million then plus add-ons, plus add-ons, plus bonuses, I'm guessing.
No, it's 26 million per season. So that's 52 million over 2 years. That's why he wants 10 million. That's about 20%.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money for Renault to dish out.
That is,
yeah. That's why I was thinking it's more like 8 or 9 plus, say, 2 or 3 million on bonuses.
I guess, though, Ricciardo was in a seat which won races. So you're going to have to pay for that.
I don't think he was going to stay at Red Bull, though. I think he. I said this to Tracker yesterday. I think he was off to McLaren.
Yeah.
I'm so glad he didn't. Because where was Norris going to go then?
I think they would have had Ricciardo and Norris at McLaren.
Sainz had already signed though, hadn't he?
Yeah, because with Lando Norris, they had to put him in the car because Toro Rosso was sniffing around, weren't they?
From what I understand, Sainz didn't sign at that point. Ricciardo signed and left Sainz without a drive, and that's why Sainz found McLaren and went with McLaren.
Ah, I see.
So that was the order that it went in. So it was Ricciardo that started the silly season, really.
Oh yeah, because Renault were going to go with Ocon, weren't they? Renault had a deal sort of done with Ocon, didn't they? On loan for a season.
So Sainz could have been without a drive this year. Well, that would have been wasted talent.
Yes, he's too good to live off the grid.
Yeah.
He was just as quick as Verstappen in a Toro Rosso. So if he'd not been in the sport, it would have been a bit of a waste of talent. You could say a bit like Ocon, I suppose.
Yeah. So that's that. Any other news that you've got?
Should we talk about John Verne?
Jeff.
Jeff, he got community service. They were racing in New York, and over the radio, he asked the team to ask his teammate to pull over on the track and cause like a yellow flag or a safety car issue to try and help him get up the grid.
Wow.
Here we go. He twice requested over the team radio that his teammate Andre Latteras pull over to stop on track in order to introduce a safety car and allow him to return to the pits to fix his damaged car. He come out and said it was interpreted the wrong way. So yeah,
interpret that any way.
He's definitely got problems.
So yeah. And the end of a bit was Hamilton's not well this weekend, and they were ready to put Ocon in the seat.
Before we move on from the news, I've put the picture of Jev's car up on Formula E car up on the screen. Honestly, how sexy does that actually look? I think I
can't take because my phone's lagging. I can't take because my phone's lagging.
Nice looking car.
I don't like that.
There's always one. No. In all seriousness, what is it that you don't like about it, Will? What's
sort of how wide it looks in the middle, and then the flares over the wheels. I don't like that look. It's trying to be something it's not. Think?
Oh no, I like the styling of it, if I'm honest.
Reminds me sort of like a Lamborghini, very flamboyant looking, but not as fast as a Ferrari. You get what I mean?
Yes, I get what you mean. I mean, we've seen the concept for how F1's going to go, and I hope that goes that way. You know, with the swoop back wings, a little bit more style, and particularly when it comes to the halo. I know it's introduced obviously for safety reasons, but a little bit more styling on it, make it a little bit more aesthetically pleasing, shall we say?
Looking more futuristic.
Yeah. But maybe they should take a little leaf from what Formula E's done and look at what they can, and hopefully go towards the cars looking like that for F1 as well.
It's all going to be down to regulations, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but should F1 look like Formula E?
Formula One should look like Formula One cars.
Yeah. You shouldn't be copying other people's styles. It sets the trend. Don't be copying other championships.
People try to copy F1.
Yeah.
That's where it should be.
Copying everybody else, it's like, well, great. Wow.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, we'll leave that there.
I thought you was going to say the other news tracker, but that's fine. You carry on.
What other news, Henry?
Yeah. I dug myself a hole, didn't I?
Yes, you have. Open up.
yeah.
That. Do you want me to chuck you down a rope, or shall I let you build a ladder?
Anything will do, please.
Lard, what do you think? Will, what do you think?
Check him a ladder.
Thanks, Lars. Thank you.
Will?
Nah, leave him in a hole.
Yeah, I'm with Will. It's a 2-1 vote. Henry, you've got to take yourself out of that hole.
Oh, okay. So I have, I don't know how to word this. Secured? Is that a word to use? I've secured an interview for us to do in the summer months.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Can you say more?
No, probably, since he's got himself in a hole.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm choking to death in this hole now. No, I can. They're not in F1 as in they work in F1, but they do stream on Twitch, and they're a big F1 fan. So I thought it's a starting point.
Mm-hmm.
I'm already on the podcast. What do you mean?
Oh, Will, you wasn't meant to tell everybody. Yeah. So yeah.
Yes, Will.
So hopefully.
So to recap it for Henry, we've got ourselves an interview set up for the summer break. We can't tell you who it is unless they want to blurt it out in the chat who it is. But this person will be on our streams. It'll be chatting exclusively with Henry. It'll be a good little interview. Stay tuned for that.
Perfect.
That's how you do it, Henry.
Well, you left me in the hole with no air to breathe. No wonder I was struggling.
Karloff and Jenny, welcome along.
All be fixed in the editing.
It will all be. It'll be fixed in the edit. Yeah. There was some other news that came out that I thought, and that was relating to that Netflix show, Drive to Survive, Series 2, confirmed with all 10 teams. Now, have any of you watched it on Netflix?
Yes,
No.
I have.
You have. Lard, what's your opinion of it?
I thought it was very good. There's a couple of real bitchy moments between Renault and Red Bull.
Absolutely.
It's just interesting to look at this year and how it's running.
Yeah.
To see sort of the little spat that they had, Christian Horner and the boss of Renault.
Several people, yeah.
Yeah.
That got a bit personal. It didn't need to get that bad, did it? Let's be honest. A lot of it could have been out behind the scenes. It didn't need to be played out in the media like it was.
Welcome to Red Bull being dicks about it at times.
Do you know what?
Yeah.
Exactly right.
I think one thing that I thought did justice was when it was following Haas with, Gunter Steiner.
Oh,
I like the guy now. I like the guy.
Straight talking, isn't he, that man?
He really is. It was just
unless you're asking him a question. Go on.
I honestly thought the actual program brought out the light of him, of the troubles that he's had to deal with last season. I don't know what you think, Lard, with that.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't an easy season for him to deal with, especially with all the internal stuff with Grosjean.
Yeah, I think the face on the screen kind of does justice, doesn't it?
Yep.
Yep.
It really does. I mean, you know, he tried to G Grosjean up when Grosjean was having a hard time during the season. It worked for a bit, and then look, it started again.
Yeah.
You know, that's got to give him some sleepless sort of nights, because you know he's got to have Gene Haas in his ear going, look, we've got to do something about this. We're better than this.
Yeah. Exactly. And
It's what has happened to Grosjean, because, you know, at Lotus, he was not the real deal, but he looked decent, didn't he? He was getting podiums. I mean, obviously, he had the crash at Spa, but he looked like he was decent alongside Kimi. He looked half decent.
I think he's you've ever heard the phrase accentuate your positives, hide your weaknesses?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that's what happened. I think that's not happening for him. His weaknesses are glaringly obvious now.
Absolutely. Agreed. I think this is his final season in F1. I think he's out at the end of the year.
He was in it before this race, wasn't he? If you believe the rumours.
No, it was supposed to be... Was it Ocon who was reported to be replacing Grosjean before this race?
Yeah. For Germany, which was how bad that was going to be.
I'm sorry, I've got no sympathy for Grosjean.
Nah.
He's...
Nah, but mine has run out for him. I mean, you look at it this way, right? It's Silverstone. Haas were having enough problems with a certain drinks company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the last thing they needed was him and Magnussen doing that on the first lap. The very last thing.
Alfa Romeo in front of them in the exact same position, and Kimi just went to be just to avoid the incident with Giovinazzi. Literally,
Probably.
yeah, it mirrored in front of them. That's all they had to do. Grosjean just let it go and be defeated by Magnussen.
It was just that like short-term mentality there, innit? Is we've got to get up as high as possible. But they should have just looked at the long term and gone, do you know what? Like you say, just backed off, one wide, whatever, and then carried on with the race. Instead, they touched each other and it ruined the race. It ruined the race for Haas, because they needed the data, and now everybody's on their case again, which is what they didn't need.
Which is where McLaren have gone well, because Carlos and Norris are very much part of the team spirit. You know, they let each other pass, they give each other room, even if it does their own race no good. You know,
and they do a lot of work behind the scenes in the simulator.
Yeah. That's how you run a team.
Yeah.
I think the Haas team in general is just like, there's no sort of...
Yeah, there's no cohesion.
There's no happy feeling either, is there? It's just like, they just turn up and it's like, they're fighting each other internally as well.
Like Ferrari.
Yeah.
You know, they don't know what to do. Don't know what the problem is with the car, and they don't get on.
No.
And you see things glaringly different between, Red Bull, Mercedes, and McLaren. You look at that. Look at the whole bit with Mercedes. We win as a team. We lose as a team. If there's a problem, we all look at it and we go, okay, how do we fix it? Rather than blaming someone, saying it's your fault. The car's doing this.
Since the Rosberg incident 2014, Mercedes is a strong team around. It's incredible.
It's also the way the team operates as well, I think, as well.
Yeah.
Different teams operate different ways, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like at Mercedes, they can all put a suggestion forward and say, well, look, this is what the car is doing. Maybe if we did this or we did that, that might help.
Yeah.
Is there anybody who was in F1 before Haas, like an old F1 person, actually team? Or is it all like Gene Haas just picked out people who were qualified but had no experience?
I don't know,
Good
honestly.
shout. I don't know.
I can't remember, because I know obviously Gunter Steiner wasn't in F1.
Yeah, Steiner was at Jaguar, wasn't he? And then he was at the incarnation of Red Bull.
Yeah, it's all very much Americanized, which, it is Gene Haas, but it's very IndyCar. It's just a team of people who qualified to do these jobs, but not necessarily have experience or passion for the job.
You know what they need to do, don't you? They just need to go on a team bonding session. They just need a weekend away, team bonding session. They'll all be fine.
What, you think
We
it's a
won't-
go ape?
Anything. We won't say in the news that they were canoeing and they crashed into each other. We won't say any of that. They all need to get away, don't they? Just have a. They just needed like a team bonding session, or this is the rules, and that's it.
This is where McLaren have done it right, haven't they? They've mostly F1 people in it, but they've brought in that new person who is an F1, but in a similar sort of motorsport.
Besides, he was Porsche for World Endurance Championships, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But
Experienced enough to know
this
what's
is-
going wrong, but
That's the thing, though, isn't it? Zach Brown took over. He had no experience of running the team, but he knew the marketing side. So he got somebody in who knew how to run a team, an F1 team, and then looked at the team and went, I need to improve in this section and that section, and got the stuff that they needed, and then said, there you go, do what you need to do.
yeah, he's done the right thing, really. He said it wasn't going to be a quick thing to get sorted.
No. And it's good to see him up there. As a neutral, it's good to see him up there.
Yeah, but Zach Brown's never done that bad a job, I don't think.
Well, no, once Ron Dennis left McLaren, I mean, the bitching's really stopped against him, didn't it?
Yeah, he's doing his best he can do.
It was only really sort of Alonso that was still having that issue.
Good old Alonso.
But I think McLaren needed an Alonso to sort of give the car some direction to start off with. Which just need a Massa or something to go back to that car and go, this is what feels wrong.
Yeah, that's what, that last season, he just always slating the car, wasn't he? This is what's wrong with it. This is what's wrong with it. I know Carlos Sainz said that they would, they asked him what he'd like from the car, and he sort of told them what he'd like. But if they've got a decent package all over the place, that car will do them wonders, and it has done them wonders.
This is Williams' problem at the minute because they've got George Russell, brilliant, and Kubica, who's experienced but not in that car.
Yeah,
similar. So they're stuck with what do we do with the car?
Well,
yeah.
Can we just add with Robert Kubica, he did bring the car home in one piece.
Well, on Kubica. Hold on, no, I'm not saying anything.
A running gag.
I'm a neutral.
A running gag. A running gag from Australia, by the way. This is from what Sky Sports website put on about the driver ratings, and they went, Kubica brought the car home in one piece. To be fair, how many times have Williams crashed out this season?
Just back to, isn't it? And that was practice or
That was
qualifying?
practice, yeah. It wasn't. They brought the car home every race, haven't they?
Yeah. Unless they've had a mechanical issue. And I don't think they've had a mechanical issue either, have they?
How
No,
many
this is
teams have actually
reliable.
brought both cars home throughout the season so far? Mercedes?
Yeah, Mercedes have had plenty of 1-2s.
Yeah.
I think it's only Bottas that would really have a problem with Mercedes.
Yeah.
Racing.
Hamilton's finished every race, hasn't
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think Racing Point have lost a car. They've not been finished in the points, but they've not lost.
Didn't they
I
lose
don't-
Perez a couple of races ago?
Can't remember. See, if they had to crash again, I don't really see that as like their fault or reliability fault.
I know I shouldn't be looking at the chat, and I know it's your job, Henry, but Michael
You
Patterson
go-
won.
you go-
Have
you
Williams
go-
been fast enough to crash? Oh, brilliant, mate, brilliant. Another bit of news linked to today. Congratulations on Lance Stroll for breaking his Q1 exit streak of 15 by getting into Q2.
Well done. Stroll. He's a better race driver than qualifying. It's weird, isn't it? Like he just qualifying, never qualifies well. Race, he's on it.
Yeah.
They've got a new aero package, haven't they, this weekend?
Yeah,
And Sotera's made it to the top 10, so it's doing something.
worked for him. And we should say Stroll has got a manager, not driver manager, a driver coach with him. Have you seen this?
No.
You haven't seen his driver coach. Lard's very quiet, so I don't know if Lard knows if Lard's seen it or not. To be honest,
I haven't seen who it is, but I know we were talking before the podcast about it.
okay. So Juan Pablo Montoya is
Oh,
Stroll's,
yes.
is Stroll's
Yes.
Stroll's driving coach.
The
There you
legend
go.
that is, the legend that is Montoya.
Yeah.
Yeah, because wasn't Crofty making a joke about if Johnny Herbert was his?
He may have done. I might have missed that, but yeah.
Sorry, we're looking at Henry's message in the chat.
Oh, really?
Michael Patterson, one, if they had Tracker 57, he wouldn't get out of the garage. Even though that doesn't make much sense. There we go. With a ruffle emoji at the end. Let's talk about Germany. Let's talk about the practice. And I think the first thing we need to talk about is Gasly and that crash on FP2. He's under a lot of pressure.
Yeah,
No doubt.
yes, he is, but he has been performing.
He just kept his foot down, didn't he? Or put his foot down too early, and that was the end of it, wasn't it? It's a weird place to crash as well, isn't it?
That was a lot of damage from what seemed a small. Don't you think? Because it was a full chassis change.
It was a lot of damage, wasn't it? It seemed to. It must have been the angle that he hit.
It's pretty square to the side, though, isn't it? Don't you
Yeah,
think?
there's a lot of that car came apart. It's like, oh, because I thought his the actual rear wing came off as well, but then, no, it didn't. It's just the way it looked.
I mean, that is a lot of damage. It's just. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it right now. Anyone who's watching, obviously, it's on your screens right now, including the guys that are with me right now, apart from Henry, who has got problems. But yeah, I mean, that's a hell of a clout to the rear. So that's coming out. That's coming onto the start finish straight, isn't it? That's the final turn for start finish straight, and he lost it there.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know he's performing on track. But with the history of Red Bull being Red Bull, does he have a future with the senior team?
I think he does.
Last two races has pulled it back, I think.
Okay.
I think if they were going to get rid of him, surely they would have done it by now.
But that leads to the question: if they were going to get rid of him, who would they have replaced him with?
Well, they want well. If they get rid of him at the end of the season, they want to get Hulkenberg in, don't they?
Hulkenberg.
Yes. Well, that's the rumours in the papers anyway.
Right.
I don't see that team really suiting Hulkenberg. But the thing is, they've run out of Red Bull drivers.
Yeah.
They have what they got. They got Albon in the junior team. He's not good enough at this moment to go up to the senior team. Kvyat, would they give him a second chance in the senior team?
Probably not. No to Kvyat, and they've done it in the past, haven't they, where they've taken times from Toro Rosso who are doing really well, like Kvyat, put him in the first team, and then they struggle.
Yeah.
Like Gasly.
Yeah. 2 seasons in say Toro Rosso, then if they're good enough, then promote them.
Yeah. What do you think, Lard? If there was anyone that they could replace him with, if they were.
I mean, I jokingly say Roffel Van Dorn.
Stoffel.
Because at the end of the day, see, who is it that there to really replace the drivers? Is there anyone coming through that's just in the wings waiting?
Well, they sacked one, didn't they, a few weeks ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, they removed it for the Red Bull program, didn't they?
They could be really bold. They could go after Mick Schumacher.
He's part of the Ferrari Academy, isn't he?
Yeah, but you offer him a Red Bull seat.
This is why Toro Rosso were after Lando Norris, weren't they, last year?
If you get in early enough, they'll switch driver academies.
Yep.
So, Pierre Gasly's run of form, yeah, since the beginning of the season. 11th, 8th, 6th, retired. 6th, 5th, 8th, 10th, 7th, 4th. Seriously, guys, is that good enough for Red Bull?
All he is a number 2 driver. They don't want anybody to come in and disrupt the fact that Max is number 1.
Yeah, Max is the star elect in this.
He is the new Sebastian Vettel
Yeah,
in their eyes, anyway.
yeah.
So they just want a driver who's like a yes manager in football. Do you know what I mean? He's going to say yes to the chairman.
Yeah.
It's much like Bottas's position at the minute. Because he's coming second, third, fourth, maybe. But he's against Hamilton.
I think Toto Wolff said that they're probably retaining for next year.
That's you can't look at anything better than that for Bottas. He's only going to get seconds, really. Can you? You know, you're fighting the best driver on the grid at the minute, arguably. If you're picking up seconds all the time, can't do much better.
Yeah.
Unless he somehow regains his focus that he had at the start of the year, and just has it consistent.
Yeah, that's what he's missing in a minute.
Yeah, he is.
If he's consistently bringing home seconds and thirds, can you really sack him?
Not really, because he's doing a solid job. But
Yeah.
if he wants to be world champ, he has to pick that up. He has to be consistent.
Much like Gasly, he's not rocking the apple cart with Hamilton, who's the driver. You bring him into that seat, you know?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, look at it for tomorrow's race. You've got, I don't know, I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but it's important. This bit is like you've got arguably the best 2 drivers on the grid at the front of the race.
I think you could say that. I mean, you got Leclerc, haven't you, sort of behind them as well?
Yeah,
So,
he's in the mix.
the top 4 drivers of the season are starting in the top 4 tomorrow.
Yeah.
I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, absolutely. Just having a look at, I've put this on screen, about with everyone's performance, how they're all doing. Note here that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Roman Grosjean's retired 5 times. There are only 2 teams that have not had any retirements on either of their cars, and that is Alfa Romeo and Williams. They're the only 2.
Yeah.
Racing Point, Lance Stroll, Toro Rosso, Alexander Albon, and Kvyat, both of them. McLaren, Sainz, and Norris. Danny Rick and Hulkenberg for everyone's had. Of course, Mercedes as well. So Mercedes, Williams, and Alfa Romeo.
What a trio of teams.
That's in it.
Yeah.
That's quite harsh on McLaren, though, to be fair. I can't remember what happened to Carlos in Australia, but Norris's was the strange failure of the back.
Carlos was
Brakes.
a turbo failure, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Fair
It
enough.
was a turbo failure, and then Norris was that, like you say, that
Rear brakes, wasn't it?
Yeah, the brakes
Was it rear
Yeah.
brakes?
overheated.
I just said that was like a freak of nature more than a genuine retirement. You know, to be fair,
Yeah,
there's no way he was going to see that coming.
yeah. I mean, to be fair, most of these, apart from Roman Grosjean's, are pretty much, they're all mechanical. Charles Leclerc, definitely. Norris, definitely. Ricciardo, definitely. Hulkenberg, yep. K-Mag, his only retirement was with a collision with his teammate. So both Hasses again.
Yeah.
Danny Rick, Honda engine failures. No, Danny Rick.
I was going to say, Honda,
he collided with the McLarens, didn't he? In China.
What? Danny Rick?
No, Danny Kvyat.
I don't think
You- You said Danny Rick.
I
You did, didn't you?
apologise.
Thank
I
you.
apologise. It's Danny Kvyat. That's who I mean.
Thank
Danny
you, thank
Kvyat.
you, Will. Thank you.
Shut up!
We've
I'm
not
allowed
had
to
many-
make mistakes. I'm human. You're human. We're all human. I'm allowed to make
No,
mistakes.
Hold on. Lard never makes a mistake, and neither does Will Story Clearance. They never make mistakes.
Not on. Anyway,
Yeah.
Nard doesn't. No, Nard
Yes.
doesn't. I'm allowed to make mistakes.
we've not had many crashes this year, have we?
No, we haven't.
And when there has been, like the two McLarens in China, like Max and Vettel, the cars have carried on, really.
Yeah. It's been yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are the cars getting a bit tougher? Because it was that stage, was it 2 years ago? Any contact, the wishbone was broken, the car was out.
Yeah.
That seems to have stopped a bit.
Does. And then you got like that in free practice too with the the buckled. I suppose that's just going into the wall really. It's not car versus car, is it? That's what's it? An immovable force versus an unstoppable object or something like that. Immovable, yeah, it's the one I mean. Immovable object versus an unstoppable force.
Because I think Red Bull in practice have been off a few times.
Yeah.
Max in Austria as well. And Gasly's done it. Was that China? Didn't he totally off a curb somewhere? I think he's crashed some other time in practice this year.
Yeah, I think he has too. I think you're right. So I'm not up to speed with what happened. If anything happened, what happened in free practice 3?
Hamilton changed his aero package.
Right.
Halfway through from the new spec back to the old spec because the temperatures dropped.
Right.
George Russell had an issue, didn't he, as well?
Yeah, he didn't really go out, did he?
No.
Can't remember anything else particularly. There might have been a bit of blocking, but nothing that's caused a penalty.
Right. So that's pretty much it, really. Then.
Yeah, there was nothing of note really that came out of it too much.
Well, let's talk about the qualifying and Ferrari. Ferrari is the key story, isn't it? Really, what's going wrong?
I don't know. They seem to be fading yet again, but it's very, very early this time compared to last year. I think it's got to be the pressure that's making them buckle. It really has, because they're saying, "Oh, there's something wrong with the car, and we don't know what it is." Come on, this is Ferrari. Look at the amount of experience they have, and they don't know what's wrong.
Yeah.
Can't be the engine, because Alfa Romeo, Kimi Räikkönen, 5th today.
They're saying there's something to do with the turbo.
Yeah, Vettel's was turbo, wasn't it? And then in Austria, he had an airflow problem. And then I think Leclerc was a fuel issue.
Yeah, I heard fuel issue as well, I think.
Are they pushing that engine to the point where it's become fragile?
Yeah.
Have they not packed it properly?
Are they fighting too much to that kind of their quality is just being pretty much ignored? Their quality assurance.
You say that, but Vettel didn't even put in a fast lap before his turbo gave in, sorry.
He didn't even get out of the pit lane, did he? He says he got out of the pit, he put his foot down, it was already gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He put his foot down off the speed limit, and it already gone. The turbo had gone, or apart from the turbo or whatever, you're just giving up.
So I can't imagine much strain had been put on it in free practice 3. He didn't particularly put in a good time. So
is it an old part that's just given up the ghost too early?
Well, surely they'd have changed it. I don't think there's a penalty for changing the the airflow.
No, it was the turbo that went on it, wasn't it? So
I think it was the air into the turbo that forced it, though.
Right.
I think. Because I think you can change all the pipes and stuff, can't you?
Yeah.
The Immortal Cloud's got it right.
Yeah.
Vettel's was turbo, he wasn't getting enough air.
which is a pipe, not the turbo. So I don't know. Are they not looking after the car, checking it properly? Is there a new mechanic lineup in Ferrari?
It's a weird one, isn't it? Really,
I think there's an issue with the airflow, isn't there? Because they in Austria, like I said, Vettel, there was a problem with his airflow thing, wasn't there? And now there's an airflow into the turbo.
But that car hadn't been rebuilt since Free Practice 3.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Like we said earlier, he's not having a good run of races, though, is he? Really, with Ferrari aren't. Full stop.
This is 12 months now, though, isn't it?
Yeah. What was it since? It was since Hockenheim last year, wasn't it? Since Vettel had the crash, but then
Make me. Yeah. I was only going to say it made me laugh that Kimi Räikkönen is the last winner of Ferrari and the last person who won them a championship.
And they got rid of him.
Yeah, I find that quite amusing.
Yeah, blooming heck he is, isn't he? Wow.
That's how bad. And that was USA last year, was it, for Kimi?
Yep. It was. It was the United States one. Kimi was his standard smiley on the top of the steps.
Yeah, so that's been 13 races without a win.
Yeah. Wow. That really says something, doesn't it? Let's have a look at other other things that have happened. And then you got Leclerc. Didn't set a time in Q3. What was the issue there?
Fuel, wasn't it? Fuel problem.
Yeah.
Fuel flow.
I don't think it was fuel flow, but I think it was just a fuel issue or something.
Which, yeah, didn't really show much signs of going in, quali 1 and quali 2.
He'd been final weekend. He gets to Q3. No.
Yeah, it just went.
So was that them turning the engine up? I think that one was more like turned it up too much and blown it. Mercedes are just too scary.
Lard's very quiet, Lard. What is your opinion on all this?
I do think it's they're turning the engine up too much and they put too much stress on it, and it's just time to let go in no matter what way. Whether it's the turbo, we're not getting enough via pipes, or the fuel systems is not getting enough again via pipes.
What?
It's something is just going horribly wrong.
Why is it Ferrari seem to be doing it in making these cock-ups in spectacular fashion?
They're desperate to win.
Yeah, desperate.
Desperate to win. They don't have the leadership that, say, Mercedes or Red Bull maybe have. They just don't have, Mercedes, they have a philosophy and they've stuck with that philosophy ever since they've come back into the sport. And it's paid dividends for them.
Yeah.
Ferrari every year, if they don't win it, they'll just sack the team principal and then put somebody else in. 8 times out of 10, they haven't had any F1 experience at all. They just need to sort of go, stick with Bonotto and go, right, you're our guy, tell us what you need, and go and get it, or go and get them.
Yeah. I think this is what happened in Bahrain. Ferrari was so desperate to win a race, already by race 2, it blew up Leclerc's engine.
Yeah.
Well, they had turning it up too much. After, pre-season, it was all Ferrari hype, and then they go and lose Australia by so much. And they're like, we need to win something quickly. And that's just kept growing and growing. And now they just can't even get podiums.
The Immortal McLeod makes a good point on the chat. To make engines go faster, it's air and fuel. That's the easiest to try. And like you say, maybe the engines aren't coping
it
with
was a short circuit, wasn't it, for Leclerc in Bahrain? And now they've got an air issue. So have they packed it too tightly? Have they not put enough, Mercedes have a thing where they can just pull a thing off and it gets more air into the engine.
Mm-hmm.
Surely that's maybe what Ferrari need to do. Put something in the cover so that they can get more air into the car.
To be fair, it did work for Mercedes in Austria.
Austria, yeah.
Yeah, Austria, they really struggled with that because of the heat. Their car maybe just too tightly packed for extreme temperatures.
I think, like I said with the Austria Grand Prix podcast, I think Mercedes have built their cars so that they don't rely too much on their radiators enough. The smaller radiators, because they're normally out in front. They're not relying. They're not going to be stopped behind the cars too much. So then, when it came to traffic and everything like that, or hotter temperatures, the car's not going to react the same with reliabilities as it has when it's cooler.
But then again, if they've got the pace to justify that sort of risk, and they're always going to be P1, P2, why not?
Very true, very true. But there's always that risk, like with Austria with the heat. So,
Yeah.
I mean, thankfully for Mercedes, the weather turned a bit like it did in the UK. It dropped 10 degrees. So it's been back in their favour, really.
It's a hard one to call, isn't it? Because we won't know now if that aero package they brought to bring more heat into the engine is going to work or not, because they didn't really get a chance to, test it extensively.
So they're the two, well, mainly the things from the standout story from Quali. But there was something else, because I listened to Quali on 5 Live for a little bit because I was travelling to a barbecue today. What was the glitch with Verstappen's engine? Did you notice it? Was it Q2? Verstappen, he came out of the pits
and he was complaining about lag again.
And he did an extremely slow warm-up lap, out lap, 60. I think they were saying about roughly 60 miles per hour around the whole track, and it sounded like that Honda engine still sounds like a pig.
Martin Brundle thought it was the tyres that was the issue. He was trying to keep the life in the tyre long.
Yeah,
he's trying to drop he's trying to drop the pressures and temperatures when he in the tyres. So he was just literally going around at about 60. As if he's going around with the pit limiter on, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I think the tyre blankets came off really early as well.
Right.
And then he didn't turn it on until turning into corner 1, into the final corner. He left it till that point to push cold tyres. That is some commitment. It's got to be said.
It really is, isn't it? I mean, the fact that he pulled out that lap, what was it? He was P4 at the end of Q2 to take him through to Q3. You don't see that too often, do you? Driving on pretty much lower tyres. Or lower PSI.
He's also on a different strategy for tomorrow, which will make the race interesting.
Yeah, he's on the softs, isn't he?
Yeah, because he buggered up the first lap because of that lag issue.
He
didn't want strategy, so who knows?
Back for that. I think they did. Yeah, I've got something here. Honda apologised for Verstappen's power unit error. So, Honda have apologised to Red Bull's Max Verstappen after they tried a power unit mode in qualifying after German Grand Prix. That backfired. The Dutchman complained of loss of power in his RB15, forcing him to return to the pits to make one last ditch for run for a place in Q3, which he succeeded. He would have qualified. He would qualify P2 to split. Well, that's qualifying. What's it here? Speaking to reports at Hockenheimring, Honda apologetically racing director Toyoharu Tanabe says it's great to have Max on the front row and Pierre right behind him on the grid in a career best 4th place. However, we must say sorry to Max as there was a problem with the power unit settings when we tried a different mode in Q2 which did not work. So they are coming on, but there's still bugs in the system.
Are they trying to sort of say that to stop Red Bull coming out and slagging them off in the press?
To be fair, though, didn't Christian Horner said we want Honda to take risks? We don't even care if we get engine penalties. We see some progress. Which, to be fair, in the position they're in, why not?
They can do it. They can do it. They can afford to.
Especially where Vettel was, because they knew they were going to get back into like P5 and 6 worst case scenario.
Yeah, pretty much.
And if it had worked, they might have got into like, pole position, which Max hasn't had one yet. Surprising, really.
But again, wasn't far off.
No.
I think the top 4 were quite close, weren't they, overall?
Let's have a look. What are the top
Half
four
a
time?
second.
We'll
Or
bring
top
it
three, maybe. I'm not sure.
Bringing
What,
it up on screen. So Hamilton 111.7, Verstappen 112.1, Bottas 112.12, Gasly 112.5. There's 0.8 of a second between the top four. And then Kimi Raikkonen 112.53. So what's that? That's 0.8 of a second between the top five. Grosjean with a 112.8 along with Sainz. Wow.
And Gasly went quick on his second lap, but it got deleted, didn't it? Because he went
Yeah.
wide.
He went wide.
I was about to say that, yeah.
He was a lot closer than that.
Track limits have really been an issue today.
That's good though. I like that.
Yeah, I agree with the track limits, to be honest.
If
I
you look,
think Rosberg was right though, because he says because it's blind coming into that final corner, you can't actually see where the track limit is until you're over it because of the way it ambers.
I mean, if you have a look at the times here that we've got, so Hulkenberg was a 113.1 and Perez 113.0. So 112s. So any cars that are in the 112s and 111s, yeah, that's what we're looking at. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 cars, not including Vettel, out of the 19 that went to qualifying through Q1, Q2, and Q3, made it into the 112s. 11 cars.
Wow.
The slowest time was recorded by Robert Kubica, 114.8, which actually shows the progress of Williams. It is getting faster. I mean, look at George Russell, 114.7. That's close between those two. That's got a lot close over the last few races. But the gaps are starting to come down. I mean, if we take...
It's a shorter lap, though, today.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot short of that. But in Q2, Hulkenberg in P8 and Ricciardo in P13 was 0.33 of a second. On a different day, we could have had a different top 10.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's absolutely nuts, that.
Sort of why we don't need a big rule change, because they are closing together
Yeah.
quite nicely. You change all the rules again, it's going to be bigger gaps again.
That's true.
I think Red Bull did this last season, just leave it as it is. We're getting closer and closer, and then you change the rules, and we all split apart again.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So we've got ourselves set up for a very interesting race tomorrow, particularly with with both the Ferraris out of place, and with
And rain.
Sorry,
Rain as well, possible.
we've got a very interesting race due. So I think we actually switch over and we talk about predictions. Now, for those listening to the podcast or watching the podcast, there are some technical difficulties. It seems to be the thing. I'm not going to go into it. If you're at the beginning of the podcast, you probably know. If I didn't say it live, I'm not going to tell you. But for this week, we're just going to. Well, next week the next race, Hungary, I'll bring up the board for the two results, so we've got it all up to date. But that doesn't mean we can't do the predictions right now. So let me get this up on here. Germany, first, second, third, best of the rest, idiot of the week, and fastest lap. So for anyone joining us for the first time, the points are as follows. First place gets 4 points. Second place gets third place gets 2. Any of the drivers that are in the top 3 but not in that order will get 1 point. Best of the rest gets 1 point. Fastest lap gets 1.5 because it's fastest lap. And idiot of the week will get 1 point as well. And idiot of the week tends to be the one that doesn't get a lot of points. But we got Jay's predictions down, so I'll read them out in just a second, and I'll just Henry, there we go. I'm actually writing these down as I'm literally going through this. So Jay has put down the following. He has gone for Hamilton first, Leclerc second, Verstappen third, best of the rest, Danny Rick. Don't forget, this was done yesterday, by the way.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Fastest lap Verstappen. And idiot of the week, Kvyat, because it's about time he stepped back up to the forefront of idiocy.
He's never going to go back to that, is he? Now, Kvyat, I think he's a changed man.
So, Henry, I'm going to put you first this time round. You haven't done first for a while.
Okay, first Hamilton,
Yeah,
second Bottas,
yeah,
and third Verstappen.
yeah.
Best of the rest,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say Kimi Räikkönen.
Yeah.
Fastest lap,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say Leclerc.
Yeah.
Idiot of the week.
Mm-hmm.
Can I just go with Grosjean or Magnussen?
You get half a point if you get one of those. That's it.
Okay.
Shall I put Haas down?
Yeah, that'll do. Sorry, Haas. I'm sorry, Haas. I'm not normally this harsh.
And can we all be in agreement before we go on with the rest of the predictions from last week? Can we all be in agreement that Vettel is idiot of the week?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
with Grosjean as a special mention.
Yeah, Grosjean's
Yeah.
got a special mention, which means half a point for all the Grosjean fans out there. Hey, I think that's pretty much the whole grid. I'll put that down. Vet IOTW GRO 0.5. There we go. That's written down. Right. Lard?
I shall go Hamilton first.
Yeah.
I shall go Verstappen second,
Yeah.
and then Bottas third. I'll keep the top three on the grid.
Yeah.
So that way. Best of the rest, I'm going to have to go with Raikkonen as well.
Yeah.
Idiot of the week is going to be. That's going to be a picking on that one. But fastest lap, I'm going to say Leclerc as well.
Yeah.
So idiot of the week. See, I'm not going to go with Grosjean this time.
What? Oh, what? What?
No Grosjean.
I think it's going to be Vettel again.
Do you think he's just going to smash into somebody? No, that's what you're saying. Down the hairpin.
I think he's going to make a silly move, trying to get back up to there as quick as possible, and it's going to cost him.
Yeah. Okay. Will?
Hamilton first.
Yeah.
Bottas second. Verstappen third.
Mm-hmm.
Best of the rest, I'm going to be very interesting. I'm actually going to go Lando Norris.
Right.
Side of the points, McLaren usually be best near up because they've got the free tyre choice.
Right. Okay.
That's why I've gone for that one.
Okay.
Fastest lap, I'm going to give that to Vettel because home race, I think he'll go and, last bit of the race, go and put a good lap in for the fans.
Yeah.
And idiot of the week, that is tough because last time Leclerc was too far back was Monaco and he totaled it. But you've always got a Grosjean as well. So I'm gonna go Leclerc. I think he's gonna try and get to the front too quickly and do something really stupid.
Okay. And that leaves me. So my predictions are Hamilton first, Verstappen second, Bottas third. I think best of the rest is going to be Carlos Sainz. I think that fastest lap will go to Leclerc. And I think idiot of the week will be a Vettel. I think he'll cock it up. So, we're pretty certain on who's going to win. We're pretty certain on, hopefully, the 4 points. Just for us. Let's wrap this up. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me today. If you are listening, I will get them to say bye in a minute. If you are listening or watching, there's many ways to follow us when we're not broadcasting. You can follow us on Twitter at Turn One Podcast. You can go to Facebook on Turn One Podcast Facebook page. There will be a website being built. There is a website being built at the minute, but I'm not going to disclose too much about that. We have got an email address, podcastturnone@gmail.com. We also have our podcast available through iTunes and on Podomatic. But also, before I go, check out the YouTube channel. We have extra content on there. Will is doing a career mode. We also have Will doing a career mode. And soon, Henry will be doing a career mode on Motorsport Manager as well. There we go.
We're with a Fire 19 mod, so it has 12 F1 teams, not 10.
There we go. And yes, I know I said Will's doing a career mode, but he's doing a career mode. Check it out. Guys, thank you ever so much for joining me today, as always.
You're welcome. You're very welcome.
Thank you. You're welcome as well.
Good fun.
Good fun. From all of us here at the Turn 1 Podcast, we wish you all very good, whatever time of day you're listening to this, and we'll see you all next time. Take care. Bye-bye.